Well, this will be a fun talk because the title is Simple Acceptance. It'll be interesting what you think that means. But for me, it was simple acceptance of the law as it works in your life. So this will be something fun to consider. Because Jesus likened the kingdom of heaven to a child because children have the simple expectation that parents will meet their needs. And it's the same thing when we have the expectation of God that energy, that infinite intelligence will meet our needs. And as practitioners, we study God as infinite creative mind, creative energy that responds to our needs. Now, sometimes our needs are positive and sometimes our needs are negative, like the heck with these people and who's that stupid idiot, and God responds. So this is the simple acceptance of how the law really works. Because this creative mind is just a field of energy that accepts our thoughts and our beliefs. And then what it does, it attracts like energy and bonds with it to give us the experience of it. Very simple. A plus B equals C. So it's the way we ask that's important, very important. And it depends on a couple things, what we've been focusing on. A lot of intention has been given to those impacted by the Carr fire. Beautiful intention. Some attention may be to other people who maybe started the fire, contributed to other fires in the area. So if energy bonds with like energy, we have to really pay attention to what we're focused on. The place where our thoughts and beliefs go is called subconscious mind. We have our conscious mind, we have our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind stores everything that we've thought, everything that we've believed. It's stored our whole life for eons. And is it predominantly positive? Or does it have pockets of anger or pockets of negativity that when we trigger it on our conscious mind, it picks that up in subconscious mind? Oh, that's what they want now. That's what they want. So creative mind always assumes that what we're focused on, we want more of. It doesn't analyze like, that's a real stupid thing to think about. It doesn't do that at all. So there's 3 points to remember about this creative power when we're consciously using this power. Number 1, all space is filled with creative energy. All space. Creative energy is amenable to suggestion. That energy will listen to what we're thinking, what we're focused on. It will listen to that. It's amenable to that. And it only works by deductive methods. More about that in a moment. So number 1, at its most basic level, the universe is pure potentiality. And it's interdependent with everything. We're just in this field, the bond, this field of energy where everything is connected. So it's this invisible force that's flowing in, through, and around us, and it has unlimited creative potential. That's the best news in the world. It implies that it's not bound by precedent. So if you really were focused on hating this group over here last week, and you love them this week, what happened last week is easily erased. It doesn't drag on if you've replaced it in mind. So it works on spiritual principles such as oneness. Do we really believe in oneness, that we are all children of God? Do we really believe in goodness, that goodness has more power than something that's not good? Do we believe that we have the freedom to change our mind, to change our thinking, which changes our life? So this power, this energy, takes its direction from our word, the words coming out of our mouth, the words coming in our thoughts. We increase its potential to give us back positive things, positive energy, positive experiences, if we do prayer, if we do some visualization, if we do some spiritual mind treatment, meditation, visualization, contemplation, all those things, we give it a better chance of responding to us positively if we've been doing that. Jesus said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What we thinketh is what this creative energy assumes we want. But it's always willing to meet our demands, positive or negative. It's always willing. Holmes describes it as seed, soil, and plant. We plant a seed, a thought. We can plant different seeds because we're free. We can change our mind. Because that wasn't a very good thought. Let me replace that with, there is goodness everywhere around me. But we're free to do this. And yet it takes a long time. What I see in this congregation, it seems to take a long time for people to get it, to really get that. We can read all about it, we can talk all about it, but it's something that sometimes doesn't seem real because it's so simple. So we plant seeds in our mind. The energy goes into subconscious mind. It brings like energy together, manifests in our world. Seed, soil of subconscious mind. We keep watering that seed, and the plant's going to grow. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how we individually contribute to the shift in humanity's evolution on a national scale. And we're going through a tough time right now. And it's an evolution. It's an evolution because what we see and hear in the news is the effect of what millions of minds are thinking. It's the effect of what people are thinking and what people are believing. And today, for me personally, it's not a judgment. What I see is happening is very, very divisive. So we come in here and we go, there's oneness, there's love, there's inclusivity, and then we go out in the world and we've got a ways to go. Got a ways to go. You know, in the late 1800s, some people think we've got a long way to go. Well, I'll tell you, in the late 1800s, what is that, 125 years ago or something, people started understanding that what we say and believe and think about, we experience in our life. It was blossoming in many quarters of the world. And here in the US and Europe, they were calling it New Thought, and in England, they were calling it Higher Thought. And it started to really catch on until World War I happened, until World War II happened, and kind of faded a bit. And then it kind of resumed its knowledge in society. So in the 1800s, it started with people like Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, great name, Mary Baker Eddy, Christian Science, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Thomas Troward, Ralph Waldo Emerson, people that we teach their realizations. We teach classes on this because as they discovered it, you could feel the excitement in them. They were not only discovering it, they were using it and proving it way back then. So we feel there's a lot of value in those studies. And today, I'm so glad to be alive today because we're discovering scientific proof that they were right. Some of you have been in the Dr. Joe Dispenza classes, and you've been sharing with Sue and I this amazing thing that the energy of our mind attracts like energy, and it shows up in our life. And it's like it was never heard before. And Sue and I are like, yeah, we've been teaching this for decades, but I'm so glad you got it. Yahoo! So you're like going, yay, God, and we're going, yeah. So if we don't seem as enthusiastic, just know we've been doing this for years. But what happens in like anything, you hear it a different way with different words, and all of a sudden it clicks. And I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled there are new authors today that are taking the scientific proof, just like Lynn McTaggart, so many others, and showing us it's really true. And one of the first books proving it was written in the 1950s by research at Redlands University when the philosophy teacher, professor, talked to Ernest Holmes and said, I want to do a scientific study on regular prayer and spiritual mind treatment to see which is more effective. Wrote a whole book on it, proved it down to the gnat's eyebrow, as you say. as we say. Who says that? But anyway, it's a great book to read. I love reading that book. And that was in the 50s. So now more and more people are willing to even try to see, is this really true? And they're coming out with all these great studies and great books, and I'm just thrilled. It's a great time to be alive. I could talk about that for hours. So the second point, the creative energy is amenable to suggestion. I recently finished giving a Prosperity Plus class, Mary Mannon Morrissey's Prosperity Plus. And it's all about creative energy in and around us. So she digs a little bit into what's not working in your life. And then she presents 12 different processes for kickstarting good to come out of that. It's a wonderful class. It's a wonderful class. And so it helped increase prosperity. It helps if you want money, if you want a new job, if you want a new home, a new car, a new car. We're waiting for that one. We're going to take a ride in that one when it shows up. Anyway, it was all reinforced by a small book that she gave us. It's very small. And it was written by Genevieve Barron called Your Invisible Power. In 1912, long time ago, she was the first and only student of Thomas Troward, and we love Troward, as difficult as his reading is, but we love Troward, and she was his first student. He was a brilliant judge for many, many years in India, and when he retired, he went back to England to continue his study and his writings about the power of our mind. He became very famous, and that's why we still study his books, the Edinburgh Lectures, The Creative Process, Bible Mystery, and Bible Meaning. One of my challenges with Troward is some of his sentences are a whole paragraph long, so you have to diagram them and cut them apart to understand what he's saying. And then you go, oh my God, I get it. So it's kind of like Dispenza. In 1902, many years ago, this wonderful lady, Miss Alice Caro, she was the head of the Higher Thought Center in England, where people came to study about all of this, metaphysical truths, how to apply them to health, prosperity, etc. And one day she went into a tea room in London. They loved it. They loved their tea. And Mr. Troward was in there doing some writing. And she kind of looked over at his writing and she said, oh, are you writing about higher truth? And he said, well, ma'am, it wouldn't be lower truth. So they instantly became friends, and he came to the center quite often and gave lectures, and everybody just loved him. Well, the center was actually a house, and it had several drawing rooms, and they had podiums and chairs, and they even had magazines from the U.S. like The Mind and Unity, and it was quite an incredible place to go and just even be and study and learn. So we were reading this book in class, and Genevieve Barron, she was living in New York, and she read the Edinburgh Lectures, and she went, oh my God, I've got to study with this man. I have got to study with this man. Now this is like 1910. And she went, I'll write him. So she wrote him letters, and he never answered. And so she had this burning desire, so she said, okay, how much money is it going to take me to go to England and live for a while? And she concluded, because steamship rates back then were very high, it was going to take $20,000. I kind of think of it as our capital campaign. And so she did what he said. She focused her mind on it. She meditated on it. She did everything she could to think, I have received this money. And in 6 weeks, she had it. Now, that's a lot in 1910. Still hadn't heard from Troward. What's she do? She's confident. She gets on the steamship. She goes to England, and she sends him a telegram. I'm here. Just waiting. He didn't answer. She kept at it until he said, okay already. Not quite like that, but she said, okay. He said, okay, I'll do this for 2 years, and that's it. So she was obviously thrilled with all that and studied with him, and then 2 years were over. She went back to New York. And she founded a New Thought school in New York in 1915, and she taught there for 10 years, and then she left to go to Los Angeles and started a New Thought church there. did that for several years, and then she traveled for 35 years all around America lecturing on mental science. This is long before I heard of any of this, long before most of you had heard of any of this. So it was in the works. Not scientifically, but because people tried it and it worked. So point number 3, the creative process only works by deductive methods. And in her little book, she says we have a key in subconscious mind. And it's the secret chamber to our heart's desire. That's how she wrote. I love that. The secret chamber to our heart's desire. And all that we need to make a more wonderful, happier life is using this key. That the creative process works by deductive methods only. Now, if you don't know what deductive is, it's you say to me, I'm happy, and I go, right. You say to me, I'm sad, I go, right. Whatever you say, I believe. It doesn't analyze, it doesn't judge, it just assumes whatever you're thinking, whatever you're believing is right for you, and here comes more of it. Here comes more of it. That's deductive. It's deductive only. So whether it's positive or negative, here it comes. And you can judge in your life, you can look around your own life and see, where are these little niggly things that I don't like? Well, somewhere it's in this rich soil of subconscious mind. So Genevieve encourages us to make careful inquiry into the unseen cause. That's what she calls it, the unseen cause, what's laying in subjective mind that we probably forgot about. Did your mother tell you you were not worthy of a good relationship? Did your mother or father tell you you were stupid? Are these things that have hung on and you totally forgot about it until it was raised up here, raised in Prosperity Plus, and you went, oh my gosh, I forgot. That's still hanging around. Still hanging around all these years. So it's important to know what's stored there. And in Prosperity Plus, we got into it somewhat. And then she gave us all these processes to get us out of it. Well, very soon I'll be doing a class called Practical Mysticism. And it's all about subconscious mind being full of mansions, and each mansion has several rooms. And in each room is some ugly stuff. And we're going to dig around in it if you're ready. Carolyn Myss is a fabulous teacher. She went through this. St. Teresa of Avila wrote about these mansions in her Evolution to Enlightenment. And they're real and they're there. So we're going to dig through it and lift you up if you're ready for it, and I hope you are. So Troward said, if you think your thought is powerful, your thought is powerful. That stored energy is amenable to suggestion. If we plant an acorn, we're going to get an oak tree, not a watermelon. So what we're planting our seeds are going to come back in like energy. Genevieve recommended that for every 5 minutes we spend reading and studying, I do a lot of that, we should spend 15 minutes applying the knowledge. It's like, oh, I read for 2 hours today. How many minutes should I spend applying the knowledge? She said 5 minutes reading, 15 minutes applying. That's a big challenge, but I challenge you. I challenge you to give that a try. Because she said there's great value that can be obtained from this by mental action, but also physical action. Physical action, we want better health. As soon as the smoke is gone, go walking. And then pay attention to the little things that start sprouting in our life. If we want a better relationship or something like that, little sprouts start coming up, and it's important to notice them. Oh, I just met someone here, and they were very nice, and was that a sprout? Oh, Rosemary had the state of California refund her some money she didn't know she needed or had, or anyway, it just came in the mail. Well, that's a little sprout of prosperity. So pay attention to the sprouts. And now maybe simply you can understand the power of your mind, the power of your word. With these 3 simple points, all space is filled with creative energy. Creative energy is amenable to suggestion, and it only works by deductive methods. So today you can begin to create your tomorrows. There will be gradual growth in place of anything in the past that you considered the worst experience of all. There will be continual growth beyond that. And Troward wrote, "There's no deception quite as great as self-deception, or as dangerous. In order to stop deceiving ourselves regarding any uncomfortable situations in our life, the first step only requires that we're willing to see what we honestly entertain in our mind. The first change must come from within, because it's true, as Jesus said, it's done unto us as we believe." So let's pray about that. Oh, and by the way, for some reason, I have 2 extra books of Genevieve Barron's experience, and it's delightful reading, and the first 2 people that would like these can come up afterwards and get them. But let's do a prayer about this, about the willingness to look. Because we know we are all together in this oneness, this one energy that is the unfoldment of the universe. Yet we are all individual in our makeup and how we do our life. And so it's this creative energy in the universe that we tap into day in and day out with positive or negative energy and positive or negative results. So I know for myself, and I know for you today, that this creative energy that brings greater happiness, peace, and love into our lives is critically important in this world. And as we give love and creative energy, thoughts of creative energy, thoughts of goodness to others in the community, it helps change the nature of the whole community. We know it because we experience it, but now, thanks to so many scientists, we know it because it's true, it works. So I give great thanks for the understanding of the depth of this knowledge, and yet the simplicity of this knowledge. It's simple enough to shift our lives in the way we want it to shift. So I give thanks for all the people that have gone before, all the teachers, all the people that studied this, all the people that traveled around the world to bring it to a newer, wider audience. And now I can simply accept it and let it be active in my life and your life from this point forward. And so it is. Come and see me.